Hello, classic rock fans. I am reporting live after seeing John Fogerty at Summerfest here in Milwaukee. John played the BMO Harris Pavilion, which is the biggest and best of the free stages down at the Summerfest grounds. And it was a wonderful show. I won't bury the lead on this one. I highly recommend seeing John Fogerty. If you haven't before, I try to see him every time he comes to town. This is my fourth time seeing him, and all four times I've seen him, it's been great. It is my opinion that John Fogerty is an American treasure and one of the absolute titans of the entire classic rock genre. Those Creedence hits from the 60s and early 70s, those stack up against basically anybody. The Stones, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Kinks, anybody from that era, I would stack John's greatest hits up against theirs. And if you agree and you like those songs, then you should definitely see him in concert because he'll play almost all of them. You know, the nice thing about Creedence is so many of those hits were like 2.5 minutes long, so he gets almost every one of them into the set list, which is just great. But he's had so many that he can't get all of them in, so there'll be one or two missing, but even still, you get your money's worth. And he also plays a couple of songs from his 80s revival era. You know, he had a big comeback in the mid-80s with songs like Centerfield and The Old Man Down the Road and Rock and Roll Girls. And those songs are part of the set list too, which is great. I like his 80s era quite a bit. I think he had one of the cooler comebacks, you know, of all the 60s artists that had an 80s resurgence. So it's a good mix of hits through big chunks of his career. And those hits are performed with the enthusiasm of artists half or even a quarter his age. Seriously, he is so energetic and so fun to watch on stage that even if you're not really familiar with the music, you're probably going to enjoy his personality that comes through, you know, the stories he tells between songs, and just how much fun you can see him having on stage with his band. His band, which is made up of several of his kids. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he doesn't tour as the Fogerty family band, because two of his sons are in the band, and they are both quite good. One sings lead on Good Golly Miss Molly, and the other has just a rip-roaring guitar solo on The Old Man Down the Road. You know, there's a lot of classic rock artists that brought their kids into the band. You know, Eddie Money did that. Eddie Van Halen, of course, brought Wolfgang into Van Halen. So it's fairly commonplace to see legacy acts do this, and you know, some people aren't big on it because it's kind of like nepotism a little bit, but if the kids are that damn good, then you're going to want them in the band, you know? The talent is there, and you can see how much fun John is having playing, you know, alongside his kids, and that translates really well to the crowd. It makes for a very wholesome show. I remember in times past, he gave one of his sons a shout out for graduating college and having a 4.0 GPA. Okay, those shows were a couple of years ago, but tonight he gave his son a shout out for getting married. You know, and they showed the wedding picture up on the jumbotron, and you know, the crowd clapped for that. So a very wholesome, very family oriented show. It's great music, it's classic Americana, and it's super family friendly. So you can't go wrong. And there are some surprises in the show, too. You know, one of my favorite things when I see John in concert is that there's a couple of points in the night where he will do a guitar solo, where he will, like, finger tap like Eddie Van Halen used to. That's awesome. And it's not something you might expect from seeing a guy who had most of his hits in the late 60s. But he can still play, and he can still sing. He can still sing really well. You know, he's always had a very unique voice. And these aren't ballads he's singing. These are, you know, powerful anthems. And he's been singing like this his whole career. And here he is in his 70s, still sounding great. There is no noticeable step down with his vocals. And that's rare. So not a lot of his contemporaries can say that sort of thing at all. So if you like Creedence, he's not going to let you down. He can still sing. He packs the set full of hits, and it is a great night out. I guess the only thing I'll say here at the end is that I've always felt it's a bummer that there was never a proper Creedence Clearwater Revival reunion. I've always felt like if the goddamn Eagles can figure it out and Axl and Slash can figure it out, there's hope for anybody. But unfortunately, I think it's time to stop holding a candle for that reunion, because I believe that the other two guys in Creedence, Stu Cook and Doug Clifford, I believe they've announced that they have retired from the road. So John is the last man standing with these songs, and it is appropriate because he is the songwriter and, you know, the primary talent in that band. It's too bad they were never able to figure things out, but when you see him in concert, it's hard to actually feel that bad about it, because he delivers those songs in such a great fashion, and nobody is walking out of that show disappointed. So, yeah, if John Fogerty comes to your town, this is one of the easiest recommendations I can make. Absolutely go see him. He's an American treasure. He is a titan of classic rock, and we need to appreciate him while we have him. So, I think that's going to be it for me at Summerfest this year. I don't anticipate going back this weekend. There's some things about Summerfest I'm not crazy about with the 3 weekends instead of the traditional 2 weeks. But that said, I've had a great time at Summerfest the 4 times I went this year. So I am super glad that Milwaukee has this wonderful tradition of music. I'm glad it's alive and well. I'm glad people came out. I hope everybody was safe. I hope everybody had a great time. And I just want to thank all of you who watched my reviews for checking in. Summerfest is wrapping up, but I'm not. I have a ton more concerts scheduled to see this summer, and I will be reporting on them here. So if you are enjoying these videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and Twitter. Those links are in the description below. And if you're a fan of classic rock, if you didn't know this, I host a podcast about classic rock. You might like that as well. I've had a lot of great interviews this year, so please take a look around on this YouTube channel and check out the link to the podcast in the description below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Keep rocking.